Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers, he's known for what we now call client-centered therapy. Rogers, similar to Maslow, started out as a psychotherapist. He got to really realize that, I don't believe people are messed up. People, once again, he came with the same similar conclusion as Maslow. People are basically good. But client-centered therapy, let's focus on the client's needs to a certain extent, okay? In terms of a lot of what his counseling was about, was he's talking about is one of the things Rogers talked about is important to be flexible in life. Ever-changing conditions of life, it's important to be flexible. Think about in the job market. Those people who keep their jobs are the ones who are able to make that adjustment. Whenever a new CEO comes on the scene, all that first thing they're going to do is get rid of all the people they can and bring in their own people. Well, the flexible people keep their jobs, okay? Where other people who are not flexible, they're gone to someplace else. That's not how that boss did it. Well, you go find them, okay? He also talked about people's state of mental health is based upon the gap between their real self and their ideal self. Your real self is 200 pounds. Your ideal self is 120 pounds. Whereas your real self is 135 pounds. Your ideal self is 120 pounds. Okay, who's going to have the biggest problem? So a lot of Rogers' client-centered therapy is bringing those goals together, that real self and ideal self, closing the gap. Last but not least, in terms of humanistic approach, like George Kelly. George Kelly, he was the head of the clinical psychology department at Ohio State back in the 1950s. And one of the things he told his students is that person you're counseling, they're not a passive individual. They're taking that information and trying to figure you out as much as you're trying to figure them out. That person you're doing that psychological experiment on, they're trying to figure you out just as much as you're trying to figure them out. That's what Kelly came up with, is personal construct theory. People are hypothesis makers and players of multiple roles. Humans are hypothesis makers and players of multiple roles. I mean, think about it. Always trying to figure things out. You go to walk down the street, you see a bunch of fire trucks going. You go think about that. Wow, what's going on? Or you go to the mall, you see your significant other's best friend holding hands with somebody else. You're going to think about that. Okay, and that's why people are always trying to figure things out. What's going on? Or you go out with somebody, you thought they said something really strange. What they say that for? You're going to think about that. And that's what I said. People are always trying to figure things out. And also, people play different roles. You play different roles based upon the situation you're in. I say George Kelly would be one of the biggest argument against trait approach. Okay, he talks about people adjust their roles based upon the situation. You're a nice person in this situation, but you're rude in another situation and indifferent in a different situation. So in other words, people play different roles. You play one role around your family members, play another role around your parents, play a different role around your peers, play even another role at work. So that's what Kelly's saying. People are hypothetical. They're always trying to figure things out, situate out, but also they play different roles based on the situation. Most people outside of social psychology have never heard of George Kelly, partly because his writing style was dry. However, it makes a lot of sense when you stop thinking of, particularly talking about it in social psychology, the power of the situation. So we pretty much concluded the major theories of personality, and I want to spend more time talking about learning approach in a later section. I'm going to talk about learning approach by itself. Unfortunately, the amount of time we have doesn't really do any of these theories justice. In other words, 10 minutes does not do Freud's theory justice, nor does it do the humanistic theory. But I say further reading is necessary. In other words, now hopefully I'll motivate you to read more in the text and read more what these individuals are talking about. But in terms of humanistic approach in general, I have the same criticism on some levels I have for psychoanalytic approach. No empirical evidence.